Sairam children, welcome back. Hope all of you doing fine. So today we are here with the third part of our chapter 7 in history, the administration of Swaraj. Fine. So in the first two parts we have already learnt about the Ashtapradhan Mandal and the village economy. We learnt about the Baluta system. Then we learnt about the military organization, the intelligence department, and trade and business. Now what is there we are going to learn in our today's part. Let's see what we have first. Forts. Yes, Shivaji Maharaj had given a lot of importance to having forts. In our sixth lesson also we learned as to how according to the Treaty of Purandar, Shivaji Maharaj had to give 23 of his own forts to the Mughals. Yes, but when he went in the offensive of the Mughals, within a period of 4 months, instead of 23 forts, Shivaji Maharaj recaptured 27 forts. Yes, isn't it? So that importance Shivaji Maharaj had given to the forts. Now let's see what we have over here for forts. Lots of importance was given to the forts in the medieval period by all the rulers. Yes, so every ruler had given a lot of importance for the forts because that would strengthen their empire, that would strengthen their hold over the territory. Possession of a fort made it possible to keep an eye on the surrounding area. In case of any foreign invasion, it was possible to protect the people taking shelter in the fort. Fine. So fort was not a small, it was not a very small place. Yes, it was quite a big place where people could take shelter. So even during foreign invasions, it was possible to protect the people taking shelter in the fort. So that importance fort had. A fort was utilized in many ways. Yes, stock the fort with food grains, war materials, ammunition and military garrison. We already learned when Siddhi Johar had laid a siege to the fort of Panhala. Yes, for a period of 5 months. Nobody could get in, nobody could come out. So in that period, a lot of food grains and war materials and ammunition was stocked up in the fort. So fort was utilized in that sense also. Okay. So the importance of the forts in the foundation of Swaraj is well stated in the Ajna Patra. The kingdom was created by the late revered and exalted majesty forts alone. Okay. So this is one picture of the fort. This is the fort of Padma Durga. Fine. So a lot of importance was given during, even when the foundation of Swaraj was being laid down. According to the Ajna Patra, it is said this kingdom was created by the late revered and exalted majesty forts alone. So though this kingdom was made up of all the forts as well. Fine. There were about 300 forts in Swaraj. Maharaj gave a lot of importance to forts. Yes, so within the vicinity, within the power of Swaraj, there were around 300 forts. And Shivaji Maharaj, as we already know, that he had given a lot of importance to forts. And not only just giving importance to look after these forts, to build new forts, he had spent a considerable amount of money on building and repairing the forts. There was a kiledar, a subnis and a karkhanis on every fort. So there were people who were given responsibility to look after the fort. So there was this kiledar, the subnis and the karkhanis. Now what was the role of the karkhanis? The karkhanis looked after the storage of food grains and the maintenance of war materials on the fort. We have already learned that a lot of food grains, war materials, ammunition, military garrison was stocked up in the fort. So all this stocking up and to see whether storage is done properly, that responsibility was there with the karkhanis. Okay, sea forts. Yes, we had hill forts and also sea forts. Raigad is a hill fort, Pratapgarh is a hill fort, we already learned. Now what are sea forts? Okay, sea forts were also of great importance. One example of sea fort is Sindhudurg. Yes, Sindhudurg at Malvan is an excellent fort built by Maharaj. Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj had built this fort of Sindhudurg, which is an excellent fort. Fine. To give strength to this fort, 5 khandis of lead was poured into its foundation. So it is a sea fort. So to give foundation in the water, 5 khandis, that's measurement used at that time, of lead was poured for its foundation, for its base to be strong. Another sea fort, Padma-Durg, was built to counter the Siddhi power. We already seen the image of Padma-Durg. So this sea fort was built to counter the Siddhi power, to see if any attack was there from the Siddhi power. So this fort would be, would strengthen the Maratha power. Okay, this is the Padma-Durg, which was built to counter the Siddhi power. This fort of Sindhudurg. This is the Kolaba fort at Alibag, which is also a sea fort. We are looking at the sea forts, children. Vijayadurg fort and the Murud Janjira fort. Yes, so these four sea forts were also of great importance for Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. Fine. Then going ahead, the navy. Now when we learnt about sea forts, they were built in forts. Now there was a relation between this also. Navy. Now what is navy? Navy was the defense forces who look after the protection of the coastal borders. Fine. So now this navy, yes, who got this idea of having a navy? It was none other than Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. Enemies on the west coast of India, the Portuguese of Goa, the Siddhi of Janjira, and the British factors of Surat and Rajapur created obstacles in the expansion of Swaraj. So this was all through the coastal areas, through the sea route. So to curb the activities and protect the west coast, Maharaj raised a navy. He had a navy of his own. For that reason, Shivaji Maharaj is been called as the father of Indian Navy. Yes, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj is known as the father of Indian Navy because he was the first to initiate to raise a navy to curb the activities and protect the west coast from the enemies. Fine. Maharaj realized that one who has a navy controls the sea. Yes, isn't it? See, now India is a peninsula. Yes, so 3/4 part of our Indian subcontinent is surrounded by water. So we have a large area of the coast. So this coast, so if you have a strong navy of your own, you control the sea. So that realization was there, that importance Shivaji Maharaj gave to navy. So he realized that one who has a navy controls the sea. So there were around 400 ships of various kinds in his navy. They included the Gurab, Gulbat and Pal. These were names given to the ships which Shivaji Maharaj had in his navy. Ships were built in the Kalyan Bhiwandi Creek, Vijayadurg and Malwan. Mainak Bhandari and Daulat Khan were the chief naval commanders. So you can see that even the naval power of Shivaji Maharaj that had 400 ships of various kinds, and they included Gurab, Gulbat and Pal. And these ships, they were built in the Kalyan Bhiwandi Creek, Vijayadurg and Malwan. So they are all towards the coastal areas where these ships were built. And the chief naval commanders of the navy of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj were Mainak Bhandari and Daulat Khan. So here we have Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, the father of Indian Navy. This is an image of the Gurab and Gulbat, and this is also one type of ship which was there, just like a Gurab. Yes, so 400 types of various ships were there in the navy of Shivaji Maharaj. So from this we can understand that how Shivaji Maharaj had given a lot of importance to forts, sea forts, lot of importance to the welfare of the people, lot of importance for having a proper administration, lot of importance for having a navy of their own, so that they can protect Swaraj, they can expand Swaraj, and also for the welfare of the people. Fine. Next we have concern for the welfare of his subjects. Yes, every ruler have his own subjects, have his own people over whom he rules, isn't it? So Shivaji Maharaj had subjects of his own as well. So it was, being a ruler, he had to look after the welfare. He was very much concerned about the welfare of his own people, of the people of his kingdom. Maharaj did not work only for the expansion of Swaraj, but also for the welfare of his people. Yes, Shivaji Maharaj did work for his expansion of Swaraj, for strengthening Swaraj, but At the same time, he also saw to it that the welfare of the people is not damaged. Yes, is not being ignored. So at the same time, welfare of his people was also given a lot of importance. He was aware that if his subjects were to really get the joy of freedom, it was necessary to have a disciplined administration, take comprehensive care of the people's welfare, and protect the conquered territories. So this concern for the people, so he was aware that if his people are not satisfied, yes, they would not, they would have a sort of resentment against the ruler. So he was aware that the subjects were to really enjoy freedom, to get the joy of freedom. It was necessary for the ruler to have a disciplined administration, which he had, take comprehensive care of the people's welfare. That also we saw that how the land revenue system was fixed, isn't it? Agriculture being the main occupation, fixed land revenue. Officers were warned not to collect extra revenue from the farmers in case of any natural calamity or foreign invasions or invasions from the enemies. They were given remissions in that revenue, in the land revenue. So all this was concern, or you can say a type of a care for the people's welfare. People were not exploited in any sense during the times of Shivaji Maharaj, and also to protect the conquered territories, the conquered forts, whatever Shivaji Maharaj had conquered from his enemies, that protection was also of utmost importance. A lot of importance was given for that, right? So through this lesson we see to it that Shivaji Maharaj tried his level best to expand Swaraj, to strengthen Swaraj, to stabilize it and also look towards the welfare of his own people. Yes, so that is the reason why people, even today's time, they look up to Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj as a national hero, because he worked for the independence of his empire, for the independence of his free people, and also for the welfare of his subjects. So this lesson tells us as to how a futuristic outlook Shivaji Maharaj had when he became the Chhatrapati. Fine. So this is what we have learnt in this lesson. Lesson number 7, the administration of Swaraj. Yes, we learnt about the Ashtapradhan Mandal. We learnt about the village economy, trade and business. We learnt about the military organization. We learnt about the intelligence department, the forts, the sea forts, the navy, and also about the concern for the welfare of his subjects. So to sum up, this lesson has taught us as to how the Shivaji Maharaj strengthened his Swaraj, and also as to how he brought about a disciplined and effective administration. Yes, also strengthened his naval power, made a base for the naval power to counter his enemies, and at the same time did not compromise with the welfare of the people. Yes, so through this lesson we have learned a very great example as to how a ruler has to be, that is Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. Fine. So with this we finish our lesson. Hope you have understood this and also liked it, children. Fine. So you can go through the video once again and try to understand it. And we have completed this lesson. Next time we'll be starting a new lesson. Till then, stay safe. Have a good day, children. Sai Ram.